Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about the battlefield and battlefield memories and basically what you should consider getting with them. Now, I did a video on battlefield memories a little while ago, but since then quite a lot has changed. We've received a couple new LRs like Frieza and Cell and Hatchiyack, and we've got a couple Extreme Z Awakenings for LRs as well. It's also very important to understand that when I am talking about these units, they are very expensive, and so you don't need to rainbow the units I'm talking about. If I suggest you to get Dabura and Babidi, then you don't need to rainbow them. Getting just them and a dupe usually is more than enough for them to be effective for most purposes. You can of course rainbow units you like, but especially if you're catching up on battlefield memories, it is very difficult. I also tend to say refrain from buying things like hidden potential orbs, from medals, etc. But it's also important to understand that again, you probably won't get half of these characters before they even come around again for a super easy A at this point. So, the chances are that it's more beneficial, especially for new players, to maybe pick up a little bit of hidden potential orbs or Kais or whatever can help boost the start of your game. So again, not everything's set in stone. Just because I suggest get these characters doesn't mean, hey, if I need some topping up on hidden potential orbs as a new player, you can't do it. I will say don't get the TUR characters. Like, really don't. It's not worth your time. Get the LRs mainly, as they're the ones that'll probably be the only ones likely to get any further upgrading or easy A's, although we could be surprised. Now we'll start off with the first one, and still one of the best ones in Physical Captain Ginyu. The unit themselves is just a great unit. Versatile all-types lead, all-type support, just a good unit. You don't have to run them on the Ginyu Force team to have them be useful. I still use these guys in a lot of my mono teams for Ultimate Clash to this day. They still perform great. There's the free-to-play Ginyu Force team, which makes them super accessible, and just a great choice. Similarly, we have Metal Cooler, also an extreme type lead of 130%, which is pretty good. But Metal Cooler's biggest issue is themselves. Metal Cooler is just kind of okay in performance. A lot of that is due to the fact that the link set for Metal Cooler is heavily tied to being alongside another Metal Cooler. There is the free-to-play Metal Cooler team, but a lot of them just don't have the utility to be useful in other avenues and things like Ultimate Clash, and that you can use Cooler in, but I wouldn't say he's one of my favorite picks. Next we have good old Uub. Now Boo, or Uub, as you can see here, he's alright. I think they gave him a lot of utility to try and make him useful, but in doing so he just doesn't feel all that impactful. It sounds weird to say, but he still just doesn't feel that solid. A dodgy link set and just kind of not having enough other tools to increase his performance just makes him feel a bit lackluster even after his easy aim. Then you have Frieza and King Cold, suffering a similar problem pretty much to both Metal Cooler and Uub, very heavily tied to one team and just not really doing enough utility based things to kind of spark them being a top choice. For me, a lot of the units you find that last a long time as free-to-plays are units that have great utility. Look at Master Roshi. With a revive, evasion, stunning, and sealing, he still finds usability in Ultimate Clash. And the thing is Metal Cooler and Frieza and King Cold don't have a lot of utility, whereas Uub does have utility, but in kind of the wrong places, and his link set and his lack of availability, especially with his leader skill, makes him a bit rough to use. Then we get to one that I think is probably my second favorite pick, at least as of now. Also the most recent one to easy A, so that does tend to point you in the direction as to why. They are very peculiar in that they are heavily reliant on status effects, but they are very useful for a lot of content. SBR, ESBR, Ultimate Clash, certain red zones they can still put up numbers in, blue zones they can still put up numbers in, and you have one of the best Prime Battle accessible allies in the form of Babidi and Boo, who are literally their perfect match. So the two of them together are an absolute wrecking ball of free-to-play units. Probably one of my favorite combinations to run, and they are very good. Like literally statistically, in terms of numbers, they are very good. Yes, they have requirements to fill, but between the two of them, you have sealing, stunning, evasion, and attack down and defense down, which is an amazing set of utility to have. Then we come to Hatchiyack. Now, I want to special mention Hatchiyack because he's actually surprisingly useful in certain situations. He has 40% damage reduction against pure Saiyans, and this has actually been very helpful, especially in certain iterations of Ultimate Clash. Has been really helpful in certain stages like ESPR, SPR, and he's a giant form unit, and that's actually very helpful as giant forms are a really terrible category. So if you're a new player looking to fill out giant form, he's a good choice. That damage reduction against pure Saiyans actually helps a ton as well in Ultimate Clash, so I do like him. And then we have Frieza and Cell. Not bad, not great either. Also an attack down, defense down unit, but where they struggle a little bit is, so whereas I think Babidi and Dabura obviously are an easy A, so they're very good, but where Babidi and Dabura are kind of fortunate is that they have a great free-to-play partner. Cell and Frieza don't actually have a great partner, in period. GT bosses is in a weird space, Sworn enemies is in a weird space, so right now they don't feel too hot, if I'm being genuine. And then finally we have the Shadow Legions, so the Legion of Shadow Dragons. A good selection of units actually, or a good unit actually. Medium chance to stun, attack down, defense down. A little bit limited in categories, but I actually do like them, and I actually like using them more than I like using Metal Cooler. I use Metal Cooler largely because of his leader skill for Ultimate Clash, but I do actually like these guys based on soul performance because of the different kinds of utility they bring. Like I said, a lot of the times the numbers will only last temporarily. So a lot of your big benefit with trying to grab free-to-play LRs is the utility they bring, whether that's the ability to help lead free-to-play teams for prime battles or support boost challenges, or whether it's just being able to help out in nuking challenges or any kind of content. So for me, I still think physical Ginyu is the best. Tech Ginyu, technically you can also buy, but you can get enough copies of him from missions now. I would then probably say Boo and Dabura are probably Babidi and Dabura are probably my next best pick. And then I would say from there, yeah, likely Metal Cooler, just because of the lead. Having 130% extreme lead is pretty good. It is important to note that you do have to easy A all of these units. So Metal Cooler, Ginyu, and Babidi and Dabura are all not nearly as good before they easy A. In terms of non-easy aid, I'd probably just say Hatchiyack right now. I think Hatchiyack is the best one.